I had this conversation, a hot topic a couple weeks ago, and I got into a heavy debate with somebody on this where, I try to tell young models or anyone, whether you're an actress or whatever, just coming new into the business.
Yeah.
And I know when I've had shoots or test shoots or casting calls or whatever, where if it's your first time coming into a testing or into a photo shoot, I always try to make the talent always feel comfortable, which I'm saying where I'll be like, look, if you want to bring somebody,
right,
bring somebody.
Yeah.
As long as they don't get in the fucking way.
Right. And they're not coaching you.
Exactly.
Like,
they stay the fuck over there and do their thing, and you're here to do what I'm here to need you to do. And I said, number one, I'm like, I strongly believe until you have an established relationship with that, sometimes I think it sometimes even takes one time just to really know how someone operates and how they move in those settings of like, okay, are they slimy or are they fucking here to do the work?
Well, you know what? I think my mom really prepared me for that. And I think that me being really assertive, I've always been that person. I show up, I'm professional. I'm like, let's get this done. I'm like on the clock. Like I have a photographer who always stretches it super long. I'll be like a 16-hour photo shoot and I'll be like, okay, come on, let's go. I know I got that one. Let's do the next one. But I've always been like that, even when I was younger. And I've gotten the slimy vibes from photographers, and they'll be like, well, do you want to be like sexy and like pull it to the side? And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not what not what I want. Yeah, I'm not looking for that kind of photo shoot today. And I don't think they're used to being told no, because there's so many girls who are so like, oh, he's shooting me, so I gotta, he's my director. He's not a director. He's helping you accomplish whatever photo or whatever field the magazine was asking for, what the billboard was asking for, or whatever you paid for, if you want it for whatever you want to submit for. You're paying for it at the end of the day, so you choose what happens, always. Right?
But do you feel a model should go to these shoots if you're a young model coming into the industry or a young actress coming into the industry, going into these first-time sessions by yourself?
Not alone. I mean, if you're young, I think that you should always be accompanied by somebody. I think that the person should just be like, again, like somebody that's a trusted person, a mom or a dad, or somebody that will have your back and will make sure that they speak up for you. And if you're, intimidated by this big time photographer, this casting agent or whomever it may be, if someone says they can only talk to you, you need to be leery of people like that, because if they understand that you're young and that you're new, any normal straight edge photographer, casting agent will understand. They'll understand because they're legit. Somebody who's like, oh no, you can't bring anyone in here, there's something up there. It doesn't make any sense, because
and that's the thing.
As they stay out of the way, there's no reason that somebody can't come with you. Now, I've gone to sketchy shoots where I was like, fuck, I should have probably bought someone. But I'm one of those people who I get this like bitchy attitude where I'm like, yeah, that shit is not happening. So if that's not what we're doing here, then I'm out. I mean, I even did that with, that terrible news journalist. When I saw one of their posts and it said, when to step into your conspiracy theorist friend's life. And it said, when they start talking about child trafficking. And I screenshot it and I sent to her, and we were already a couple of weeks in, and I sent it to her and I go, if this is why we're talking, I'm done talking to you. And again, she assured me, oh no, there's hundreds and hundreds of journalists, that's not at all. I really just want to know how you got into it and how important it is to you, and talk about your foundation. And I was like, all right. I go, but if that's why, like, I'm done with this. And to have it again come out, I was like furious, because you have to be able to voice it for yourself. But, there are those people who will exploit you, and you just have to be aware. You have to be aware that it can happen, and you have to stand up for yourself. And you're going to have to, when I had to do the rebuttal, I was like, listen, here's this piece that is coming out, and I'm going to tell you what I was told and what I was interviewed about, and I'm going to let you watch it for yourself. knowing why I came into this. They're like, come to dinner.
Eric says it's good to have a witness, and I agree, Eric. It is very good to have what I believe in the sense, number one, that to me can avoid a lot of these situations that young girls get themselves into. And this is where I want to ask your opinion when it comes to the Me Too subject, where do you you have to go for dinner?
Yeah, he's all, come on, babe. He's like, sushi's done.
Do you feel when it comes to these situations of Me Too and the sex trafficking and stuff like that, there's a reason behind why they're trying to silence all of this stuff and instead of bring it to the forefront? And on top of that, do you feel, for example, like, because I'm sure, of course, we've seen situations where, yes, these things do happen.
Right.
But in other certain senses, there's things that were now people who are innocent, completely innocent, get thrown into a witch hunt based on social media that, they're automatically thrown into the same brush because they're in the same industry. Do you feel that if you are a person who goes to these islands, these Epstein Islands, and know exactly, number one, what you're walking in, because there's women that are in the industry.
I don't believe a single person who said they don't know what Epstein Island is, period. If they've gone on the Lolita Express to Epstein Island, I don't believe a single person saying that they were just there for vacation, period. Like, I will end that there. The Me Too movement, unfortunately, has been so muddied up by women faking the Me Too, which sucks for women who really are Me Too, and the women who are Me Too's, but yet slept with that person to get that huge role, to get that big payday. Why do it? Why go through it so that you can get that position and then come back and say, Me Too? Well, yeah, he did force you to have sex to get that role. He didn't. You could have left. You could have walked out, because full well people like, Weinstein are going to try to do that. Oh, I love you.
Ashley Davis 702. I haven't seen you since Tito.
What's up, man?
Where's my sushi, man? What's up, man? Texas Battle says hello too, man.
Right on top, Texas.
Yeah.
What's up?
I gotta have you on when he comes on. I'm having him on in a couple of weeks. You guys can come on together.
Sure.
Okay, we'll set it up.
Right, man. Have a great night.
Where's my sushi, man? What the fuck?
Right? Seriously, this is like homemade, like, belly. I'm like, all right, now I'm eating.
I'm seeing here your Ashley Davis 702.
Yes, my sis.
I haven't seen this name pop up since fucking MySpace.
Right?
Literally, holy cow.
She was my battle. That's my battle, sis. When people were like attacking me, she was all over it for me.
And this is the thing. So, I mean, for me, it's like the question I ask when it comes to that is that, like, the ones that, as you say, that know what they're getting themselves into, and then you get the ones, for example, that, and I had this debate with somebody a couple of weeks ago where they said it's not a bribe, and I'm like, when they take money to stay, I guess you would say, quiet.
Right.
Do you feel that those that take that payoff to stay quiet have the right, or I don't know if the word saying the right.
I think they're just as guilty. If you knowingly are taking a bribe to be quiet about something that is as horrendous and horrific as some of these acts and things that they've done, and you're like, oh, well, I'll be quiet because I never actually witnessed it, I just know about it. If you fucking know about it and you take a payment, you are just as guilty, because you've now perpetuated it, and now it's continued to happen, and you're probably the reason it happened to more than just that person.
Eric says he'll take the money and still snitch. The thing is, I'm saying is that, okay, so for that, like, and this is where I had the argument with the person, was I was like, look, and they said to me, of course they have the right, in the sense, because some people take the money where they don't want to lose their career. They don't want to be blacklisted and lose their job. So I say, okay, but if you take the money and then you see it happen now where it's like 20, 30 years later, like Bill Cosby and certain individuals that, you know, where suddenly people just come out of the woodworks.
Right.
Do you feel that they still have the right to try to ruin someone's career at that point when they've stayed silent for 30 years? They've taken the money, they've taken the bribe.
No.
Do they feel that they still have the same right to be able to have a voice to say, hey, you know what, this happened to me? Or do you feel that
you can, you're saying now that you have a, you know, a newfound conscience? That's BS. Like, that person, if you had a real conscience and you really do care, I'm sorry, like, I get that, you know, it's a dirty world up there in Hollywood, and, you know, it is a pay to play kind of a situation. However, there are actors, there are artists who are still working. We're not involved in any of those things. We're not pretending not to see the Weinstein things and not pretending to brush them away. So if you're now coming out, I do actually see that you're valid. If something did happen to you and you did take money to stay famous, your Me Too is still valid. However, it's not the same as these young girls being taken advantage of, because they're being taken advantage of and not getting anything in return. You've taken a payout, you've taken a movie deal, you've gotten all kinds of things. You basically hooked yourself. I'm sorry, like you were a paid prostitute in that sense. Is you chose it. You chose the prostitution over saying no. And the only reason these people have to be paid off is to keep them silent from something that happened to them. You take the payout, you have no conscience. You've allowed it. You now, if you come out later and you say, well, it happened to me too, to try and, you know, be a part of this, you know, this big valuable word, you're mudding it up again. You've created yourself now to be a victim out of, you weren't a victim before. You were totally fine taking the payoff. You were totally fine keeping your career. You were totally fine working all those movies, and now you have a sense of conscience, and now you now feel bad, and it now makes you feel upset.
Do you think it's not with them feeling bad? Do you feel the fact that, number one, that it possibly the fact that their career didn't go where they thought it would be, and then now they're like feeling sour?
100%. You know, you look at some of those people and you're like, yeah, you know what, you screwed Harvey Weinstein and you didn't get anything out of it. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you're pissed off, but you made that bed. And again, that again, you have to teach your little girls. And that's why I did the thing yesterday about, you know, really being aware with your kids, talking to your little girls and putting value in your little girl. She is more valuable than any movie role, than any amount of money, because at the end of the day, they have to wake up and look at themselves in the face. They have to raise children now, knowing full well that they were completely okay with selling their soul to this devil, basically. And now what are they going to teach their kids? Now they're going to come out and say, oh, it happened to me, but I was so afraid, but I took a bunch of money and I took a bunch of movie roles. No, it doesn't work.
So this is the thing, this is when I agree with you 100%. And this is the thing I tried to tell the person. I was like, look, like, obviously we know these things happen. We know this. We're not living in a blind world that we don't see what's going on.
Right.
So to me, I'm like, okay, if you're a new model or an actress and it happens to you the first time.
Right.
Because this person was like, I'm like, would you still, if it happened to you the first time, not even with the same person, like it happened to you, say with a Weinstein.
Right.
And then you were like, okay, this fucking happened. Like, I was freaked out, whatever.
Right.
And then you got invited to another party or another private gathering. Would you keep going there by yourself? And the person was like, yes, I would. Why would I assume that this person that I'm going to meet for, you know, at his hotel isn't there to do proper business? And I'm like, well, in Los Angeles,
that's insanity.
As you fucking know, that if you are having anybody, I don't give a fuck who